If you could both please introduce yourself for the record so that we properly note things in our notes.
My name is Lisa Lassard from Waterbury, Connecticut, and my child's going to introduce herself. And I hope you understand what she's going to say, because it makes a point in our speech. She got up this morning and she really wasn't feeling good, and she actually got sick in your late, so I apologize. But Michaela, can you tell me your name in sign language, please? Not the sign name. Spell it. Did anybody here understand what my daughter was basically now just doing? She was finger spelling her name. M-A-K-A-Y-L-A. So how do you expect the deaf and hard of hearing to take a test on a computer with earphones on their ears? She does have a cochlear. She does have a hearing aid. But how? I went to a PPT yesterday. She was in her classroom. I got the accommodations and modifications page for the deaf and the hard of hearing. And believe it or not, it is not suitable for any deaf and hard of hearing student, period, in the state of Connecticut, or actually anybody that's going to use this accommodations page, period. They said, one, I had the superintendent of special ed that went yesterday, the director of special ed. I'm not going to say his name because he's from Waterbury, Connecticut, because this will embarrass him. I asked him a question. You don't ask a question unless you already know the answer. Any good lawyer knows that. I asked the superintendent of special ed, what is Common Core? What is Smarter Balance? And is there a difference? And can you explain it to the team members at the PPT? He could not answer it. I then asked, could I have somebody from the school who can basically tell me about Common Core, Smarter Balance? Seems Waterbury, Connecticut does Smarter Balance. We waited 15 minutes to almost a half an hour from somebody from her school at IEA to come into the room who is a teacher who took the Common Core and Smarter Balance. She basically told us yesterday, and I have it on tape recorder on my BlackBerry playbook, which is one sentence that flabbergasted me. She said, here it is. She was told, not all deaf and hard of hearing students use the same method of learning with American Sign Language, depending on other special educational needs. Teachers stated they were told, quote, end of quote, the standardized testing for students that are deaf and hard of hearing was set up for student failure. I'm pretty sure if Commissioner Stefan Pryor was still here listening to me or trying to get the sign language for my daughter, yes, can speak, believe it or not, this is not okay. I've already called the U.S. Department of Education, Office of Civil Rights, talked to their head attorney. They said, you go through with this, we're going to be getting a lot of special educational lawsuits under 504 and Title II of the American Disabilities Act from every special educational parent that knows better, because these accommodations will have our children fail. One other more important thing is, under American Sign Language, they are going to give a computer with closed captioning. Now, the American School for the Deaf, Cindy Pioch, I talked to her this morning. She told me she's already looked at that. The closed captioning, CC closed captioning, doesn't scroll down to where the test is. So you're reading a paragraph, getting to the directions that are probably 2 pages back. They have an American Sign Language interpreter in the corner. All children that speak American Sign Language or that are deaf do not speak pure American Sign Language. If you have special needs with learning disabilities, you can speak American Sign Language with Sign English, American Sign Language with Pidgin Sign Language. You can speak American Sign Language with American Sign English with cueing. This one ASL interpreter is going to be doing pure ASL American Sign Language. No Pidgin, no Sign Language, no cueing. How are they supposed to take this test? Or as she would say, how would they take this test? Are you kidding me? I mean, if you look at these accommodations...
If you could please summarize.
Yeah, I just want you to look at these accommodations. I don't believe it'll fit deaf and hard of hearing, children that can't see, children with any special needs, period. We parents are going to PPTs. The director of special ed yesterday told me he could not answer my questions. I already knew the answer, but he couldn't give me the answer. So we waited 15 minutes to almost half an hour to get the answer from somebody at the school that's not a district leader, that's supposed to be teaching the administrators and teachers what to do and how to do it under Common Core and SBAC, which is Smarter Balance. It's a shame, because our children, special educational children, were totally forgotten about. I heard Stefan prior, it sounded like a used car salesman. I'm sorry, but he was telling you what you wanted to hear, not what actually is happening. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
If I can answer questions from the daughter.
Just to be clear for the record, so both federal and state statutes require proper accommodations, and it's the expectation of this committee that such accommodations will be made for this exam as they would for any other. And if there's a failure to make such accommodations, as you know, you will have redress to that grievance. But that is the requirement of both federal and state statute.
I understand that.
Are there questions from members of the committee? Senator Bartolomeo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you both for being here, and I'm sorry she's not feeling well today.
That's okay.
What currently is done for her accommodations for the CAP and the CMTs? I have a son that is special education and has all different kinds of accommodations, and for instance has a bubbler on the CMTs. How do they currently help?
We have an accommodations modification page already set up for CAP, which you just took last year, but it doesn't involve a computer. It doesn't involve earphones on your ears. So the problem here is the testing with the computer and earphones on your ears. Now, any testing under CMT and CAP, we were told directly by a supervisor of special ed that a person being an American Sign Language interpreter is not able, don't know if it's different with this, but not able to sit there and sign the directions. It's too difficult to accommodate what she needs during the testing. Not going to happen. I want the data-driven proof to go where it needs to go. So we have the data-driven proof for the special ed calculation. So right here it says, your child does not need to take such Smarter Balance test, seeing she took CAPS last year. Opt out. Right here, plain English, Waterbury, Connecticut. You can opt out, but I wouldn't suggest opting out because then we wouldn't know. You're going to get false ratings because they might be smarter than they actually can put down on the computer.
Good point, and we all appreciate your advocacy and sharing that with us. And it has, we're listening.
Thank you so much.